And this is, ta-da, Trekland HQ version 2. And we are live for the first time in 7 weeks. Yes, we're back, Star Trek. And here's what we did not miss. Yeah, can you believe it? It's episode 343 of Trekland Tuesdays Live with me, Dr. Trek, coming at you here from the heart of the new Trekland for some sanity, clarity, and the big picture in all things Star Trek. Gosh, do I remember how to do this? I hope so. Hey, thank you so much for joining me, finding your way back. And as you watch later on, yes, can you believe it? It was supposed to be the month of February we took off for our big, huge move. Even this has been even bigger than coming from Oklahoma to LA 30 years ago almost with 2 kids. And this has been a bigger deal. How big would you say? Hey, everybody, jump in here. I'm so glad to see everybody back in the chat again, all of you TTLers. Some of you are our Patreons. Thank you so much. Don't forget, we've got Super Chat now because we're on this YouTube channel. We've got Super Chat. And thank you so much for finding your way here. After 7 weeks, am I a little giddy? Am I a little giddy mixed with exhaustion? It's been quite a journey. And I'm so glad to see everybody here. And just a reminder, we do have Twitch. We just can't alert Twitch. If you're on Twitch and YouTube, you see everything. If you're only on Facebook, you only see the Facebook, okay? I would encourage you to migrate over and do YouTube and subscribe because it helps us out a whole lot here. But thank you so much. And as a reminder, yes, I'm going to platform a little bit here, and then we'll take a quick break, and then I will dive into the chat. Alrighty? You're not going to miss anything. But I got to say, did you miss me? Have Tuesdays been quite the same? I must at this time take a moment, though, to thank the Academy and Paramount Global for scheduling no new Star Trek during our hiatus. The hiatus was supposed to be 4 weeks, and then silly, naive me, I didn't count on this place needing more clean out. And I don't mean like rotten floor clean out. I mean, no one had lived here. The previous owner of this house had not lived here since 2007. And then they had been in senior care hospice until they died in 2017. So 10 years they lived away. The family was supposed to deal with this place, and they didn't, and they let it drag. And then finally things started happening 2 years ago. So, yes, we're still here in greater SoCal, a little further out, but I'm going to be back in town and researching Trek files and all that stuff in a couple of days. So you ain't chased us out of California yet. But look at this expanse. I don't know if you can tell, I've got expansive room here. I've got a warehouse and an office behind me. And just so you know, I did do a census. Now, just of my truck stuff. Now, I'm not talking about the house and all of our mundane things. I'm talking about just the office here. You ready for this? 2 short metal files, 5 desk drawers that we just wrapped and pulled out. 8 black tubs like, oh, you can't see, but there's one back there supporting that for now. There's a yellow lid. See the yellow lid there in the black? 8 of those. 13 blue Rubbermaid bins with scripts, and the script wall is back. And 157 Trek only boxes of various shapes. Most of them are banker boxes, file boxes. Some a little bigger. I don't know, maybe 20 or 30 poster tubes with various things from blueprints to old posters to probably non-Trek junk. I have to get in and look at them again. Guys, gals, peeps, we had 11 years of things in storage that I knew was there, but I hadn't looked at in ages. So I have what you call maybe a little bit of the assistant script supervisor looked at me and said, "You're getting sick. You're getting a cold." I said, "No, it's from getting into just enough dust to make things interesting." But no, I wore a mask. I remember how to do that too. Wore a mask for a lot of the undoing, unpacking. And gang, I have a lot more to go. I've just been glad to get my shelves up. I mean, there's a reason they build skyscrapers in New York. Anyway, it's been a process. And kids, we're just like, I'm 15%, 20% of the way there. Well, the whole house is that way. You know what it is. We've only physically really been here since about March 5th. So I've been off the air, so to speak, for first it was 4 weeks. I naively thought I would scumble this together. We'd get moved on the first. And well, it took a trip and a third, which was just as well. And yes, we had a couple of paid movers each way who were amazing and outstanding. And I've yelped and thanked them, and junkers and flooring and all kinds of fun things. So yes, it's been an adventure and a journey. And I've tried to even bounce back the last few days where I'm still madly opening things up. And I got this, you know what? And our new Trekland HQ here may evolve a little bit. In fact, I hope it does. For one thing, we have a new wall coming in to separate the office, studio, warehouse from the dining room. So we're going to put up a new wall with a pocket door, and I don't have all the shelves up yet and I can't finish my video wall back here because we have to get in to make a sidewall. So this is all the blunt truth. So this is going to be a little bit in process, but hey, I wanted to be presentable. I wanted to get my Sunday best on here as it is now for everybody, because 4 weeks turned into 6, actually 7 weeks, I guess. And here we are. We've gone to daylight savings time. So much has happened. But you know what? So that's what's been going on the Trekland front. Now, this whole time, I got to say, very proud. I'm going to skip order today. I hope you didn't let me being off on Tuesday not be your reminder to go catch Trek Files, because the Trek Files has been rolling merrily along. We've had some awesome shows. And yes, there's a new one up today. We're closing in on the end of our 11th season. Season's a half a year. So that's moving along. And we are back on track here. And okay, what else did we miss here? And remember, I'm going to hit the chat soon. But while I'm talking, I hope everybody, if you're new or a veteran TTLer, I hope you let us know how you're doing, where you've been. If you didn't overlap with any other community, or even if you did, jump off and tell us where you're from. What's the weather? How are things there? Because I do hope everything is on this fine Trekland Tuesdays live day. I hope everything is good where you are. In Trekland in general, that's kind of the Trekland HQ home front here. You know, we're still sane. Oh boy, little sagas along the way, including figuring out how to set this up in here for now. I have natural sun. I may actually, for the first time, unblock the windows and use the natural sun. This is not bad. We'll see how it goes without having so much everything leading on the lights. But yeah, this is going to evolve a little bit, just as the original grew like Topsy, as they used to say. Anybody ever heard that phrase before? That'll date you. And can you hear that aircraft? We're not near a commercial airport. Well, we are. We're about 30 miles away. But we're very near March Air Reserve Base, which they on the approach, which, historical note, I came very close to using it on the Gene Roddenberry Life Tour. March Field is where Gene Roddenberry took his flight training. So that's how close we are to LA, close but a little distant. For World War II, his commercial, his private training, and then switched over very easily to his military training when the war broke out. And he was obviously in the Army Air Corps and yada, yada. You know all that about Gene's personal biography. So I feel a real Trek closeness here. I have yet to go check out the museum there, but I can't wait. I can't wait to establish a bond there and see what I can learn more about Gene's service here. So there's all kinds of stuff happening. The fresh and the impatience and the frustration to get going. Stop me if you've heard this story before. And for all of you who have survived a move, it would be awesome to sound off in the chat when we circle back in a little bit. It'll be fun to read that. Now, the Portales know I was on hiatus publicly, okay? But we marshaled right along. I've delayed the last month. February's guest night has been delayed, but we marshaled right along with the Ask Dr. Trek roundtables for our primary and our European midday session. And the Portales, hey, thank you for your patience while I was on the road at times, and we shouldered right along and had that. But look at the world we live in now. What has gone on since I've been gone? Well, look, I was on hiatus here, but no, I was not on Trek hiatus. Look, virtual TrekCon happened, so hats off to Ryan and Sirach, and if I start going down the list, I'll fail. Everybody who produced virtual TrekCon again for the fifth time. I had 3 panels, 3 events, right? One, we had an awesome thing with Sandy Gimple, who is apparently, I think it's safe to say, is the last surviving member of The Cage, because we talked about The Cage on its 60th anniversary. And I got to talk about how 10 years ago, on its 50th anniversary, almost no one knew what I was talking about. Well, the vast majority didn't. And we have flipped that. The conversations of the last 10 years. Now people do know they can start the party in the 4-year and not have to wait until the 6th year every year for Star Trek's birthday. That was awesome with Sandy. I urge you to go back and check out all the virtual TrekCon panels, including ours. And then Friday, we had the, aside from doing the post LAAP awards, which are a hoot, always full of surprises. Go back and watch the videos if you haven't caught it. And on Friday, we had a special, let's turn it into an annual reunion at least, of Life Support Live with my good friend and longtime co-host. Well, 2 years in a pandemic, that'll age you, at 10 a.m. on Saturday Morning Live. Dr. Ali Matu, Dr. Ali and Dr. Trek, one of us is still a real doctor. We had our live reunion on VTC. Check that out on the Friday. That was awesome. Got to see a lot of our lifers again. What's even more awesome is since then, since those 2 events happened, and then Gallifrey 1 in LA, got to actually go to a live con, a little island of virtual and live events, 3 weeks into hiatus, 3 weeks into this Renault pack and move madness. Got to see David Gerald flew in again. I got to see a lot of folks just that one day at Galley, and did our Token Trek panel. And then back to the grind of packing and moving, but finally had the actual last van sent away and returned moving day on the 4th to the 5th. And what do you know? Yeah, March 8th, boom, it's Star Trek, it's Creation, it's STSF. And Creation's mission Trek to San Francisco. Trek to San Francisco is what they're branding the regional cons that Creation is trying to bring back. Now, they're less than Vegas, but they are ahead of the old days when they would run out and send one person from the office with a cash box to rent 2 rooms in 5 cities every weekend with 1 or 2 guests. You had the dealer room and the not dealer room. The old original Creation model, aside from their big shows. Then that coalesced as Star Trek's audience went down into 4 or 5 regional shows. And Gary and Adam are trying to bring back the regionals. Well, the San Francisco was an experiment, nothing since the 50th. We had the bubble of the 50th, the 50 fever. And San Francisco started off as an experiment, but it had such a great reaction that they added to the guest list, they added to the scope. They've since announced a date in Chicago, which has had to be redone because of scheduling problems with all the TNG cast and yes, and their agent Gary. That's going to be a different day than what was additionally announced, which was the weekend before Halloween. So watch for a new date on that. Meanwhile, San Francisco happened. And it happened so amazingly. There's a hunger for more Star Trek. And Trek Bell. And it's already been announced the end of January, last weekend in January for next year. Now, I'm going on a rant here and praising this because it deserves to be praised. It was a pleasant surprise. I don't know, 20 different actors from across the spectrum. Lots of folks there. The dealer's room, the vendor's room was kind of small because a lot of vendors were skeptical and didn't commit. I bet that changes next year. But meanwhile, this was plenty of elbow room. They sold out the seating for Saturday. So a lot of interest. And the amazing thing, just like Mission Chicago, which will never be replicated again, at least in this near lifetime. The one time Reed Pop did one under their existing license before they walked away from the license. And its difficulties, but the fans that were there, forget the fact that there weren't many vendors, forget the fact that it probably belly flopped financially. It flopped as in the world didn't see that as another licensed annual con. In fact, the successor to Vegas being the annual licensed con. In fact, the dynamic is that having a traveling show every year might feel more small d democratic, but the people just love to focus on Vegas. I speak for myself and everyone I know, and we like knowing where everything is every year. Going to a new city every year might seem exciting. It might work for celebrations. Star Wars fandom is so different than Trek fandom in so many ways. That's part of the problem with Reed Pop. Reed Pop does celebration. You point to a city and a date and you say celebration, be there saying that time, that channel, and people go. Trek folks, and correct me if I'm wrong, let me hear it in the chat. Trek folks will say, that's the day, that's the time. Okay, what's it like? Who's coming? It's been 9 months. You've had the same 3 guests on there. I don't think this is really happening. Are you going to just start? I mean, that's the difference. And Reed Pop either didn't get that, or they didn't understand it, or there was so much pandemic turnover. At the same time, there was actually a lot of corporate turnover as CBS/Paramount staffed up. They had turnover too. So a lot of people were turning over and not talking. And so I think those are a lot of the ingredients. I've heard a couple of other things now about why vendors didn't turn up big time. There were some changes in health regulations from Cook County that a lot of vendors said, no, thanks, I'm not going to deal with that. We were coming out of the pandemic. A lot of people weren't pandemic and mask averse, but on just very short notice, like 2 weeks notice, they changed the masking requirements. And a lot of companies, vendors didn't have employees who qualified. It was a 2 week something on masking and shots, and they told everybody 10 days out. So there was no way to make 2 weeks if you needed to. That was a reason why. The bottom line is that Mission Chicago happened, and it's a big reason why Reed Pop walked away from the license, aside from the fact that Reed Pop was still itself, and the greater Reed trade show group, of which Reed Pop is a slice, they were still reacting from the pandemic too and dealing with it and live events and the spike there. The bottom line, though, is the people who turned up, it was exactly like San Francisco. They didn't know or care that this was the national con and license. To them, they just sit at home and, oh, look, there's a Star Trek convention 10 minutes away or a half hour away or an hour and a half away. It's the same thing in San Francisco. It was amazing how people just came in, and I'd say, oh, have you been to a con? And they say, well, there hadn't been one here, so why would I go to something that didn't exist? The idea of going in a different direction 2 hours away or flying to Vegas, it's like not on the radar, because a Trek convention is when there's one in your town, you go. And that's fine. It's like mid-armchair people. They get up out of their chairs, but they don't travel. They're looking for and apparently just regional sci-fi old school lit cons don't cut it. Maybe they go to a Comic-Con, or maybe it's so not Trek, they only want to go for the Trek and it's not worth the bother and the hoopla. That was exactly, so many people I ran into at San Francisco 2 weekends ago said, I'd say, is this your first con? Do you go to Vegas? Because it's San Francisco, it's Vegas. It's not like Chicago. And so many people said, oh, that's a ways. And they were so cute. They were devoted, devout fans. And, they were thrilled. Well, we hadn't had a convention since 2017. I'm like, well, you could have gone to San Diego. You could have gone to LA. You could have gone to Vegas. And they look at you like you're, what? Again, it's adorable. No criticism at all. That's where everybody is in their life and their fandom and, balancing their budgets for that matter. But no, so many people, I'd say something. Oh, yeah, I'm just around the corner. Oh, yeah, I'm just 7 minutes away. Oh, I'm just coming for one day, but I'm 10 minutes away. Oh, we had a booth here, but I can't do one in Vegas because this is only 10 minutes from my house. I just bring it over and bring it back. In fact, the one live that I did from the weekend was an amazing Beatrice, the 11-year-old Star Trek entrepreneur. Her mom brought her up well, but this was Go find my YouTube channel, like and subscribe, and find my chat with 11-year-old Beatrice. She was amazing. And she had her Etsy style, well, her store. Is it Improbable Meeps? Oops, I've forgotten. Watch the video. Her Etsy store might be open by now, but she had her own art design doodles and caricature cartoons on buttons, on stickers, and on earrings. And she gave Tawny her own Beckett Mariner, her cartoon design earrings. They sold out, but she saved a pair back to give to Tawny Newsom. I mean, it was busy and raucous and fun, but not overwhelming. And I think of San Diego Comic-Con as overwhelming. A lot of people think of Vegas as overwhelming. And this was maybe a fourth or a third the size Vegas. The vendor's room the actors were all signing in one room, so they weren't intermixed, which usually I don't like. But in this case, it was fine because it left the dealer's room in a huge triangle and lots of elbow room, never frantic. Sunday did not die off as was predicted. The Sunday one day tickets came in. Lots of people showed up at 1 and 2 and 3 on Sunday, fresh and raring to go, even at my table. So yeah, we picked up a new Portales member, but it was great. Of course, the other end of San Francisco for me personally was I had Ali there. We did another life support live on stage for the first time. I'd so wanted to do it. Life Support Live was supposed to be a panel at WonderCon in 2020. We finally, now it was cut down. We only had 30 minutes and we added a guest for star power on stage. So we had Sirach with us and we talked, the theme was the resiliency of the resilience of the Ciscos. We had our old format for all of you lifers out there. We had our old format, but was condensed. It was so condensed. I was so desperate to try to get in a drinking game cue. Not that we endorsed that. But having a guest and only having the 30 minutes to be, and we were the last thing on Sunday. So a lot of people had left, but we still had a healthy audience. And best of all, it's on video. And I was going to wait till the end of the show, but for all you lifers, our old Life Support Live slot, when was it? 10 a.m. Saturdays. At 10 a.m. Saturday on my YouTube channel, we're going to debut our video with a little surprise added. We're going to debut our video of our Life Support live in-person special with Sirach on stage with an audience. It's been enhanced a little bit. The cameras didn't pick up the view screens, so we had a minimum of 3 slides aside from the section breaks. Still a K3 factor, still all the pieces are there. And this time with the direct input of Sirach. That's coming at our old time 10 a.m. Pacific on Saturday on my YouTube channel. Make sure you check it out. So yes, Ali bopped in and we got to meet. I got to introduce Ali to so many people, also including the great Andy Kindred, whose book is now out. You can order it. She had a book launch in Australia, her adopted homeland, the last 40, 50 years. I keep saying she's a force of nature at 80. She's 85 since we first met. It's been 2 years since she was on the Vegas stage. Gary gave her 2 45-minute panels to kick off each day, which is kind of insanely unprecedented. We got to open Saturday. I had 45 minutes with her on stage for a basically whole new audience. I hope they realized what they had. And if you don't know, Andy Kindred was, among many things, a young Black woman growing up. She was a diversity hire by Desilu, by Lucy, after the Watts riots. She says it was like the Ark. There was a female and a male. They didn't make us mate, though. But she very quickly became Gene Coon's assistant, and she was there through the Desilu days of the original series. She also came from... she's had an interesting life all over. Historically Black community, founded community in Shankleville, Texas, but lived in Detroit, born just over the border in Southern California, and then grew up all over. Wound up back in LA, and wound up being the protege assistant to the late Gene Coon. And then when he died so soon, lost that track. But was also active in civil. I don't just mean active in civil rights. I mean, she was like a worker bee. She drove Dr. King around LA when he came here for meetings. She knew Malcolm. She knew Medgar. All three of them she suffered when they were all gunned down differently. But she had firsthand knowledge of that whole era. It's insane that someone had this much connection to this much history and how they overlapped. It's amazing if you ever get a chance to hear her live talk. So that stage, that 45-minute talk was recorded and is going to be up soon. So look for that on my channel. Anyway, just an incredible weekend. I got to introduce Ollie to Andy, and I got to introduce Ollie to Lolita and a lot of people there. He was only there for about 3 or 4 hours on Sunday afternoon. But busy times for Dr. Ollie. Go check out his YouTube channel's been renamed. But the overall concept to me is, now maybe it was fresh, and maybe, repetition will stale that a little bit. But the regional concept that demonstrated by San Fran, if there's a population base, if you give it, they will come. And the Chicago show, once it gets grounded again, will be interesting to see how that works. Some of the old creation bases, like outside New York, outside DC, down south somewhere, Nashville was one, maybe a Dallas. But there are 4 or 5 around the country, at least, is what they're aiming to get back to, up to 12. Kind of echoing what they do with Supernatural and just having them annual. The fact that we've got 47 new Star Trek series and actors already retiring. Look at the Picard cast. Look at the Discovery cast, much less the shows in production. And yeah, Melissa Navia was there from Strange New. Lower Decks, I mentioned Tawny. Eugene and Don Wells. Captain Freeman, not Gilligan's Island. They were there. There was a lot of good signing. Walter Caney was there repping original series. It was awesome. And of course, Terry and Todd Stashwick and Michelle Hurd. Jerry Ryan came in for Sunday. The line was Jerry and Michelle together for photo ops was an amazing line. I've got a video I haven't posted. So to me, was this a one-hit wonder, or will repetition spoil Tab Hunter? I don't know, but it looks like there's some excitement out there. And I'm not doing this just to praise creation. If there are homegrown all Trek or mostly Trek, in the style of Stephen Walker's and Kathy Walker's great Starland cons in Denver, which I know diversified a little bit during the Trek hiatus, the Trek fallow years. But it's possible. For Trek Long Island is happening again. If you're not supporting that, you need to go. It's by logistics, it's a little smaller, but that can't, a 2-lane highway can only siphon you down so much. You can deal with that and get there. Go support the regional cons, no matter who's doing the Trek cons I'm talking about. Comic cons aren't going to go away unless it's a bozo that only sees dollar signs. They don't get the industry. But Trek or Trek majority cons, if you see somebody local, go in and support them. See what you can do to help. I really think as we have a mature phase, we've got more Trek in the pipeline, and we're recovering from our pandemic paranoia. We're getting out again. There's smart ways to do all this, and there's so much fun. And the people you meet online, you don't have to put all your egg. I mean, Vegas will never not be Vegas, hopefully. The big, huge Comic-Cons, if that's more your thing, like San Diego, around the country, if that's your thing, all for it. But if you fancy a small version of Vegas near you, or maybe at least in your region, that's something to think about. And again, I'm not just praising creation here. Some of the other chain cons and some of the independents. And of course, the coolest of all are your local fan groups that have a nonprofit behind them, and they may have a charity. I mean, the best of the old school fan LitCon tradition, where they back a charity, much like SoonerCon is not a TrekCon, never was. BabelCon was a TrekCon. ThunderCon was a TrekCon back for my Oklahoma City peeps. But it's possible to have Trek as a slice of the spectrum. And, and go support that as well. If that's what your economy, if that's what your fan base is going to hold up. But I'm just saying, It's going to be interesting to see what the fallout from STS. In fact, look, guys, gals, peeps, it was so successful, it generated its own hashtag STSF. I mean, we had STLV, and we had STLV before hashtags were a thing. I remember in the mid-aughts starting to call Vegas STLV just for shorthand. It was shorter than Trek Vegas. I mean, it was one syllable more, 4 letters versus 3 syllables, but it was shorter. And then suddenly within a year or two, you put a hashtag on things anyway. Thank you, Twitter, after 08 or so. Yes, we've got STSF, which is 1 letter away from ATSF, which if you were a train kid like me and a model railroader, ATSF was the Ashton, Topeka, and Santa Fe. And that's what always throws me when I see that now. Speaking of which, there's a Southern California Railroad Museum near me too. Yay. So that's happened while we were away. The great experiment of a regional, yes, creation, but a regional Trek-only con happened, and it was passed with flying colors. Now, will we have sequelitis? Will the sophomore season be as successful? Will the sequels in other cities be successful? We'll see. But it felt like the local audience, a few people flew in. It was great to see Anne Marie. It was great to see Marina. It was great to see people who flew in. But the vast majority of people at San Francisco were locals who were 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes away. And kind of glad that there was finally a TrekCon they could go to again. Hadn't been one in 7 years. And if you think that's the accent around the Bay Area, it's totally accurate. Totally accurate. Making a point, gang. I'm making a point. So that's all happened. And then on top of all that, yes, thank you, Paramount Global, for having new Fresh Trek. But we have Fresh Trek on the way. In fact, it's a finale season of Discovery on the way. The South by Southwest premiere, nice move, corporate, to get out of LA and New York. I mean, I miss having a premiere here, but nice move to have it in the middle of the country at South by Southwest. Can't knock that. And people getting it. And yes, it can now finally be said, no spoilers here. Turn down the sound if you don't want to hear it. Discovery Season 5, whoever came up with this idea is brilliant, is basically a sequel to The Chase. In literally the title, the TNG episode, and literally that same feeling of bopping around the galaxy after clues. And who do you run into along the way? Who's involved? There's still a few things that aren't out there that I know are coming. It's sad because I wonder, at the bottom line, if you've been reading the reviews, you'll know what the tone and all this is. And to answer your question, gang, I've been in the moving, packing, reno, unpacking, remodeling tunnel. I've had my screeners since before San Fran, and no, I've not watched them. So yes, scream at me right now. That's on my list to start in on this weekend. But there's been so much out there already. You've read the reviews already. And yes, we'll be restarting Second Opinion. And I will be there every week with a Second Opinion segment on Saturdays. Right? Dr. Trek's Second Opinion. My reaction show. When you've heard everybody else, you got the quick take, you got the fast take, the hot take. You want to wait for Dr. Trek's Second Opinion a couple of days later when the dust settles. That's coming too. But I will say, I'm wondering in hindsight, or I'm pre-shadowing, whether people will eventually say of this season, which was not meant to be the final season, remember. They were canceled. Didn't get their 6th season as all intended. Filmed a couple of weeks of a little prologue at the end, epilogue, I guess, to finish it off, the season of the series off. We'll have to see what all that entails. But people will be saying, and I wonder if this will be true, if Discovery, for different reasons, though, will have the Enterprise effect. And by that I mean people to this day, especially those who weren't there live, and they're just seeing Enterprise as a wall o icons on their binge panel. If they will say, why did they cancel the show when it got so good? Will Discovery Season 5 be good enough? Will it blow people away so much and dare I say it, feel more like mainstream Trek? Will it feel that way that people will marvel in years to come that why did they kill Discovery just when it was settling in and getting good? Now, I know, and I keep discovering how there are those out there who love the first 2 seasons of Discovery, not the latter part. There are people who only love the second, after the jump to the future, and don't care for the first. I've seen people who love the second season and not the first, or people who love the fourth season and not the third. I mean, it's all over the place. It's going to take a while to assimilate this, but I'm just wondering right now, I'm going on record to say, will someday people look at Discovery in its 5 short seasons the way people look at Enterprise in its 4 26-episode seasons, old school, and either way say, why did they cancel it when it was really getting good and hitting its stride? That's the diplomatic thing. When it's hitting its stride. That's a question. Anyway, Discovery is coming. The early reviews are out. I can't wait to get into mine. I can't wait to get back in the Dr. Trek Second Opinion saddle with you and do that. In fact, that reminds me, I've got 4 Cadet Alice episodes that I haven't released yet. We're all still waiting to see when Prodigy's season 2. And what's amazing is the season 2 is a foregone conclusion. What we've got to do is gin up the Netflix numbers so that we're all talking about a season 3. People have been so worried about getting, and we've talked about this before. This was before my hiatus. It's not about finally getting a home for season. I mean, it was, but it was going to happen. Finally getting a home for season 2. It's really whether that new home is going to chime in for a season 3. And of course, we're all waiting to see what happens. I'm waiting to see on the timing. Now I'm thinking they don't have to. They're different networks, different channel apps, streamers. But I'm really hoping Netflix is smart enough not to try to intrude on the spotlight of Discovery and waits till after Discovery's 10-week run, right? Or bask in the glow of its finale and chime in at the right moment and do that. That'll be into summer by then, late June, July, and its 10 weeks will be overlapping probably the start of Lower Decks. Okay, again, different network, but that's the sweet spot to be. We'll see if that's happening. Most of all, gang, real news happening just this last couple of weeks. We got through hot strike summer, hot labor summer in Hollywood last year. The writers and the actors finally kind of slapped around the producers, AMTPT, to get rid of this fairy tale land of streaming and get back down to the nuts and bolts of adjusting this adjusted world to fit real people, real workers, and whatever the skill, a lot of it overlapping, a lot of it precise to whatever, whether it's writers or actors or whoever. And yeah, the whole issue of how AI is going to affect all the different crafts within this entertainment industry. And the IAMTP, which is the International Association of Theatrical Stage, IATSE employees. I know, even though it's not stage, but it sounds stage. You always hear about IATSE. IATSE has a different guild for each craft that's within its umbrella. So the different guild, the different locals aren't so much local in the old sense as they are the cinematographers, right? The DPs have their own guild. The art directors have their own guild. The props people have their own. The wardrobe and costume people have their own local. So all the different, there's 13, I believe, 13, and there's about to be a couple more. Visual effects artists are finally getting organized. There's another one that's new to IATSE that's getting organized. The first local is getting organized as well. People had never been unionized and they're coming in. That was a byproduct of long hot labor summer. All the different, since IATSE is such an umbrella, all of the different divisions like that, the different crafts, have a few days with the producers to produce. So that's gotten started. And this week, as we talk, I think it's the cinematographers are up first. Yeah, they all caucus together. They started Monday, as in yesterday. There's 13 West Coast studio locals, I should say. Not sure about the East Coast. Okay. So first up were the International Cinematographers Guild under IATSE and the Art Directors Guild going first. Later this week, the editors, the film editors, and Local 729. I mean, there's grips. There's all the gaffers and electricians. They're all in IATSE too. Again, 13 different locals. Each of you drive down Olive in Burbank, and you pass at least 3 or 4 IATSE local offices there, right? Makeup and hair have their own guild. Have their own guild and their own division, with their own local within IATSE. Everybody's going to have a focus. Now, those talks are set to go through April 29th. Will we actually have a banging of heads impasse? Will the producers not have learned anything from last year, that they've got to apply the streaming model to the current world and let their people have functioning lives and not suck up, not hoover up all the money for their high-paid CEOs? Did they learn the lesson? Can Hollywood survive another, after the pandemic, after the strikes? No, it can't. And, it's not just Hollywood. It has the ripple effects. Vancouver, Toronto were affected, even though they're Canadian. But, New York primarily, but like Atlanta, New Orleans, around all the places around that have a film community burgeoning are still affected by this. What will be the outcome this way? Come April 30th, will there be a strike authorization? Will there have been a strike authorization if the talks are going south, as was done by both the guilds last year, SAG and WGA? Will there be a strike authorization as a negotiating tactic to say, hey, we're serious, Bucky? Now, after last year, I don't know how anybody needs to say we're serious. And IATSE came within this much of calling a strike vote for these same issues 2 years ago. These are 3-year contract cycles. It went flying by the radar because we were still in the middle of a pandemic, right? Yes. We were still coming out of pandemic, barely, baby steps, when all this was going down before. And something in the math, there was a majority voted for strike, but it's like the electoral college of the whole thing wound up not being a majority. So they were ahead of the curve. But, it's just the cinematographers, and it's just the grips and the gaffers, and it's just the makeup artists. So who are the power brokers there? It's not the directors, the writers, or the actors. But they were ahead of the curve. And they saw this coming. I don't even think AI was in the mix then. But everybody gets, even when you're on a design, art directors, visual effects, are you kidding me? How that comes, well, I take that back. Visual effects is not, they have their society, and that's not happening. Well, it may start happening now. But point being, people are so alerted and up for AI as a tool versus AI as replacing whole swaths of the economy, and being alert to that, and losing your identity and your creativity to it. Are you stealing an actor's likeness? Are you stealing a writer's work? Are you stealing an artist's creativity with AI? That's all part of the landscape too. So that's happening now. That's not something we missed in the last 7 weeks, but the IATSE talks are happening now, and we'll be following that over the next few weeks, probably talking about it here more than once. Maybe have somebody. I'm going to see. We've been so blessed to have Star Trek people we had Dave Goodman and a lot of the local captains like Captain Cisco Carlos and Bill Wolkoff. We had people on the pickets, and Dave Goodman in the leadership of the Writers Guild. We had the great Michelle Hurd kind of being the spiritual successor to Armin Shimmerman, our Trek seat unofficially on the labor committee of SAG. I got to poke around and see if we have any Star Trek highlights on, and maybe somebody in the chat even knows already if we've got a Star Trek notable on one of the IATSE, up in his or her own IATSE local guild. We'll see. We'll see what that looks like. We'll see if it goes that far. Hopefully the process works. Everybody agrees. They trust each other, and we have a contract without having to go to a strike. Especially after last year. We'll see, and we'll see what the pressure weighs on people differently. Whoa. Did I cram in too much today? Guys, I'm pent up. It's been 7 weeks. I haven't talked to you. And yes, the live events were great, but we were always so focused. And there's a little bit a little bit of big picturing going on at the live events. The other thing was I was just so in the tunnel of renoing or packing or moving or dealing with whatever, flooring people, electricians, plumbers, that it was hard to take a step back and look at a big picture. So yes, thank you for joining me. I think I'm certainly into some better sanity right now, which is leading to some clarity in my big picture for Trek, and I can't wait to get back and start talking about it. I don't want to get ahead of the game, but I'm coming up. I'm going to be a guest on Mission Log Live in a couple of Mondays, so you want to, of course, be checking that out. All the podcast folks. It's been interesting to watch what the hiatus has done to some of the shows. Again, Trek Files is marching right along. One thing that's happening live-wise, and it's in a couple of weekends, if you're in SoCal, is WonderCon, which was the original home and then inspiration for Live Sport Live. I usually go down and do at least one panel just down in Anaheim here. So if you're in the market, if you're in the area, 7 o'clock, the great James Kerwin and I are going to bring our panel. We've done it once or twice, and we keep updating it. But it's basically and then James glomming onto it in his way. But it's basically it's a canon smoothing and gap filling panel looking at current Trek and old Trek and what's the concept and why you don't have to get your panties in a wad if you see a mistake on screen. And you can, go by hashtag texture not trivia and add to the texture of Star Trek even when there's a splinter, even when there's a rock in your shoe, maybe even when you go against the grain, it just makes Star Trek. Star Trek does not become something that you pour out of a plastic mold that's always perfect. Those little things that go wonko can lead to some big discoveries, no pun intended. If you're around, our panel is, oh my God, is it 7 to 8 or is it 6 to 7? It's Saturday night, the Saturday of WonderCon. We'll put up all it's still 2 weeks away. You'll see it on my site, et cetera, et cetera. If you're in the area, hang around. That's also going to be, I believe, a Discovery Day. I believe Michelle Paradise is going to lead a panel on Discovery's final season. It'll just be debuting. I think they're going to show some episodes in the day. So if you come mid-Saturday afternoon for Star Trek at WonderCon, hang around till 6 or 7 and come see James and me. It's all right there in the Starfleet headquarters building, a.k.a. the Anaheim Convention Center. Thank you, New Picard, for adding us another thing. So that's coming. And then finally, before we take our break here, I just want to, if you did not hear the news, after all these years, after all the years of Sea Trek and Trek crews turning up, no. And then these first 7 years, finally, and I don't mean that in lots of things are happening. All in good time, my dear, all in good time. I'm so excited to be a guest, a host, a moderator, and a presenter at next year's Star Trek cruise. So many fans have been bugging me about it, have been bugging ECP about it for ages. Things cycle through. What a great next year. The theme is going to be a Voyager spotlight on its anniversary year. What are we at? 25 years? 95? 30 years. 30 years of Voyager. But there'll be all the shows will be all the series, all the casts will be represented. And incredible background folks, right? So I'm thrilled to be joining that legion. I'm thrilled to be doing my thing about getting the stuff out of other people and presenting and doing surprises. The cruise has grown to be it's the only licensed event now from the studio, Paramount Global. And I'm so excited that's next February. I'm also doing a lot of marketing. So the voice, when you see social posts, I will have done or originated those. A lot of marketing, a lot of the tone, making sure the Star Trek layer, the skin of things is there. And ECP does several. They do a Comic-Con cruise now. So they're getting into not just magicians, not just musicians and decade nostalgia. They have an 80s cruise, a 90s cruise. Apparently the 60s and 70s cruise demo has aged out of cruising. But anyway, that's going to be very exciting, not just in February, but over the next few months. Increasingly, I'm going to be helping them with their tone and marketing too, up front, which is very exciting. And then, of course, we've got the rest of the year of Trek to look forward to. Everything going on. And yes, I can't wait to get into that second season of Prodigy and get Cadet Alice here in the new studio and watch us some season 2 and bring you some new Cadet Alices as well. It's a bright, shiny year. We're here in March, and to me, I did live to survive the other side of the tunnel and be back with everybody on Tuesdays and for many Tuesdays to come. It's going to be an interesting, fantastic year for Trek, I know already, and some wild things happening here for me and everything in Trekland. Some new tweaks coming along. Can't wait to tell you about down the line. But for now, everything is steady as she goes. We have the helm. We have the con. And yeah. Meanwhile, there's some fodder. What did I look up here? Oh my God. What's been happening here with cons and live, right? DSC. How about your thoughts on regional cons and IATSE in talks? Are we going to have a strike? What do you think will happen? What do you think is happening on Discovery? Those of you who have got your screeners, or those of you who are at the preview in Austin, maybe saw some more. Those of you who never thought about going on the cruise, but now you're going to, by God, because Larry's a guest. Yeah, right. No, let's make this a chat for the ages today, okay? It's so good to be back with everybody. It's so good to be in this studio that's going, I say studio, it's the office. It's only been the last 10 years that your office had to be a studio as well. If you saw our virtual, I think it was the virtual Trek panel, the afterwards, no, I don't have any OnlyFans porn lights in yet. I still haven't crossed that line. That was a suggestion that came up, or it came up somehow. Maybe I mentioned it. I don't know. What was not going to happen, and people could not, John just could not, or Carol could not let go. Everybody glommed on. So it's going to be the same but different here. We'll keep evolving, and I'm just admiring this new angle of sun. We'll see what happens. And I see, I'm going to come back around to the chat, but I see, thank you, Christoph, for putting in the chat, the panel there about WonderCon. Okay, that's going to do it. If you were watching us later on YouTube, thank you so much for being here. Don't forget, you can still do super chat contributions, but the best thing you do is just like and subscribe and share. It's a crime that there are yahoos with 1.5 million subscribers. And I like to think we do a lot here with you at Trekland. So please subscribe, like the channel, and share it. And you know what? If you're watching us later, maybe find a way sometime, maybe on the holidays, maybe on a day off, summer break, join us live and jump in. And, sound off when you can. Lurking is fine. Lurking is fine right now. But sound off when you can. There's some of that dust cold coming up. No, it's so awesome to be here. Gang, what's amazing also is while I've been either on hiatus or we had monsoons in LA, I've had lots of people talking about Trekland Treks. Yeah. So I'm settled. Still a thing. If you're in LA, Greater SoCal, and want to take your own customized away mission, pick from among 50 sites. We'll go to 4 in a day. Have a quick lunch. I'll be your chauffeur, but I'll also be your cosplay handler, wrangler, props, whatever it is you want to do at your sites. We'll work it out ahead of time. You'll have an awesome day. You might even have 2 back-to-back. There's no law against it. Check it out, treklandtreks.com. Get in touch with me. Apparently, 2024 may be the comeback year for people to do their location touring here in LA. And it's already turning out to be a busy year setting up. Can't wait to get back into that. Of course, what I really can't wait to do is to thank, all of our Patreons coming through with us. So thank you. Thank you, Diana Hopkins. Thank you, Robin Wilson. You guys who all jumped the hiatus chasm with me. Lawrence Todd. Oh, and we had some new ones too. Yeah. Josh Patton, Justin Porteous, Glinda Bruton, Chris Jiggins, Pranakasha Productions, Comedy Forecast, Andrew Jazemski, and our live wires. Robert McLean, Byron Bailey, J.R. Poole, Halberd Gunnjonson, Alan Ho NC, Dave Gregory, Tobias Rex, Donna S. Runyon, Greg Wickstrom, one of our later ones, and Casey Shafsky, who I got to see at San Francisco. Big hugs, old timers, and a lot of people got to meet the real Casey Shafsky in person. Yes, he's a real person, Scott. Yes, Ali, he's a real person. No, that was a bunch of fun. And of course, if you want to jump in on my simple Patreon for now, it's $5 and $10 a month. It's just a way to support what we're doing here. Help me grow the channel, which has been a pretty good steady growth of what we're doing. The concept of $5 and $10 a month for a shout out. $10. Yes, folks, now that I'm settled, we'll get back on sharing the back catalog, early archival interviews from Portal 47 that even the later day Portal 47ers haven't seen. So, patreon.com/Trekland Live. Love it if you could jump in and support us the way Patreon is set up to do. I mentioned it earlier, the Trek Files. Chugging along every week. No hiatus for the Trek Files, although we're nearing the end of season 11, and then we'll have our typical month off. Still happening. John Champion, I think that's a name you know. Looking at, with me, Gene's reply back in those 80s days of fighting, negotiating, struggling, notating the TOS original movies. This week, his notes on Star Trek V to Shatner and Harve Bennett. You wouldn't want to miss this. Of course, the document is there on our Facebook page every week. You can get the audio anywhere, and please do. But the comments and the docs are at our Facebook page, facebook.com/Roddenberry.com. Podcasts. Socials still the same. Yes, I'm still on X, Twitter, at Larry Nemechek. Okay. It's still Larry's Trekland or Larry Nemechek Trekland on Facebook. Thank you very much. And Instagram. Please jump over there. I've been sharing a lot from the move and the reno, and I think some of them are kind of funny. It was just a very sharing time. Get the Instagram panel and check it out. And of course, YouTube. And if you want to join us in the portal as we gear back up for some more regular guests and everything else, it's portal47.net. We'd love to have you jump in with us in the portal. It is like a mini con all year long, no matter where your center seat is. But yes, I want to put a shout out. I was doing a lot on Instagram, reels and things. And for those of you who may want to know, if I could tilt the camera down, I would. I'd mess things up. But my drawer stays closed now. Check your levels is good advice for more than podcasts. All right, everybody. Hey, look, it's still an election year. There's still stuff happening in the world, Trek and otherwise. So please, 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 even if you're unpacking old boxes in your new home, mask wearing is the original good idea. Whatever's going on near you, please, please, stay healthy, right? Do all the things. And you know me, when I say stay woke, I mean check the sources. Check the sources in case it's crap, and be open to the things that no one ever told you before, and try not to get too angry that you never knew about it. Yeah, that's what I mean when I say SW. All I'm really trying to say, folks, is trek well. It's good to be back. All right. So everybody put your chat reroll counters in, and let's see what y'all have been up to and where y'all might be coming from. All righty. It's good to see some. A lot of the Portales I got to see in our roundtables, our Ask Dr. Treks. But it's so good to see everybody. Crystal. Do we have another pandemic? Oh, wait, it's Tuesday, not Saturday. Yeah, no. Ollie and I love Life Support Live. We love doing it. We love, hopefully, the good that we can do while we have fun with Trek. We do not miss the 10 a.m. Saturdays. I do not miss the staying up all night Fridays pulling images. Thank you, Anne Marie. It was so good to see you in San Fran, girl. Yes. Hi, Wanda. Good to see you. Oh, Anne Marie, you're too sweet. Wait, John. Oh, an exposition. Okay. Yes. Thank you, John. All I'm missing is YouTube ready LEDs. I'm just gonna do it, everybody. Hi, Sherry. Hi, Di. Glad you're here with us. Sherry, thank you for all your encouragement on those Instagram videos, all the reels. Hey, Tobias Rex, good to see you too. Yes, Sherry, did you see? Plushy McCoy is right there. He's got a little bit of a seat of honor versus the old time. I have been here, Cairo, since March 5th. But yeah, you're over. We were here, but busy madly. Oh, but I was gone. I was gone Thursday, Friday. I was gone 6 days. We moved here on the 4th and the 5th were the second half truckload. And then 3 days later, I was away for 6 days to the San Fran Con and a little house sitting. But I've been back now to really start only since, this is Tuesday, only since Thursday. So what you've seen here and what you don't see on this side of this wall, kids, did you hear the stats at the beginning of the show? 2 short metal files, which are holding up that ledge right there. 5 desk drawers, which are now all back here. 13 blue Rubbermaid tubs, bins full of scripts in their boxes, which was the fastest part, just throw them back on the shelves. Guys, gals, peeps, I think I've mentioned it before. I feel like I'm the honorary owner of Ivar Shelving at IKEA. We've been buying it since we first moved to LA in 94, 95. It's amazing. It never gets old. It doesn't go out of style because it's basic and you can modulate it. It's modular. You can put it up, take it down. You've got different widths. I don't even mess with the individual pieces like the drawer tops and the drawers and the door units. Just the plain skinny and fat shelves, long and short, and the frames, cross pieces. I literally, well, that's what all this is back here. I've covered it up and there's a little bit of natural wood IKEA leg showing through right there on top of the case. These are really nice. This was in the house. They were homemade with veneers. It looks so expensive in there. Just anyway. Yeah. It's only been since last Thursday that I got to attack this full time. So it's been long, long days. And of course, while I'm in here, the assistant script script coordinator, script coordinator, assistant, yes. Voyager's 5-year assistant script coordinator, J. Kelly Burke, has been tackling the rest of the house, the kitchen, her office, the bedrooms, the second bedroom, cramming every inch of storage we can get everywhere else. And we have Box Mountain. We used to live in Box City. Now we've moved outside of Box Mountain. Tons of boxes, tons of trash. Oh boy. Anyway, I didn't finish the lineup. So 2 short metal files, 5 desk drawers, 13 blue Rubbermaid script bins, 8 black tubs of lots of stuff, and 157 Trek only boxes, not counting the rest of the house. Most of them banker boxes, file boxes. And yes, probably over half of them are still here. They're just either on a shelf because they're meant to be in a box, or they're slowly getting liberated because they were put into boxes for the move. There you are. You're welcome. And there's stuff I need to get rid of. I've got prizes and giveaway stuff that I need to get rid of and find good homes for. Anybody want like 3 boxes of Titan magazines since the 90s? Titan's Star Trek magazine when it was the UK magazine and then became mainstream. The office and everything itself only is, which is just here and then behind this wall. The square footage, John, is now to about 300 and something square feet just here. And that's my domain. I have it, but everything else is verboten to be in the rest of the house. So the rest of the place. Yeah, Roland, I never could do this where we were. My other place, the angle, it was too hot. It would be hot and it would be crazy. And when we would do live sport live at 10, this is 1. If I'm with the Patales at 7 at night, it was all weird. And the easiest thing to do was just cover the windows and go with totally indoor light. But this is nice. This is nice. Thank you, Wanda, for following Trek Files on Apple Podcasts. Yay. Thank you so much. Do you ever go over and chime in on the Facebook page? Because for right now, and we're working on this too, but for right now, the only community we have for Trek Files is on the Facebook page. So if you're new, you might want to check that out too. And, it doesn't hurt to go like unless you're allergic to Facebook and run screaming from the room, which I don't have mind. I don't have blame you at all. Hey, all the Trek fam on the tubes. Absolutely. Good to see you, Dave. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Well, Sherry, survive your cold and windy days there. Thank you, Helen. It was great to see you in San Francisco, Helen. Speaking of the travelers who came in. Well, Justin, if you're going to miss all the fire trucks at the old HQ, how about the military cargo planes flying over at the new HQ? Hey, it's just the variety, spice of life. Don't worry. If planes and trains and automobiles is your thing, we got you covered in Trekland. Absolutely. We're a 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds dream place here. Something mechanical is going all the time. Yeah, Sherry, not my favorite thing. Just the disruption, Hey, Sarge. Good to see you, Andrew. Yeah, moving was a way of life. Well, we used to do it when we were younger a lot, but we didn't have as much stuff, and we didn't open ourselves up to the world the way we do now. Absolutely. Awesome VTC. Big time, everyone. Hi, Sydney. It's good to see you, and I'm glad you circled back and joined the Portales again. Yeah, I should have talked about this. Maybe this is a future topic, John. 4 years ago this week, because it was all right around St. Patty's Day. I will never forget those first few days. Wild, wild, wild. Hey, Dr. Dave, it's good to see you. I know I pulled a weird one. I moved the round tables to Tuesday instead of Wednesday, and we threw you off. But it was really good to see you. I mean, good for you to chime in. And I know where you live. I know where you work. And the fact that you were, of course, nailing down some good science and some good space science for all of us, the Lunar and Planetary Science Conference in Houston. So I look forward to, if you're coming back to JPL, hopefully soon on another project. Yes, yeah. Hey, Gene. This was awesome. You are very welcome. And listen, I'll never forget that. Just to be walking downstairs in an open angular place and see a bunch of unaware excellent Trek cosplay, Strange New Worlds crew. They had one for everybody. I hope you saw this on theirs, and if not on their Instagram, on mine. And I looked down, and they're all standing around. They didn't look like a cadet review. They looked just like a gallery shot for a cast. An 80s, 90s cast, a Voyager TNG crew. Because I was coming downstairs, and they were on a landing, not even all the way down. And then they had angular chrome, clear paneled stair walls and chrome, what are those, the banisters? It looked great. And they were in an angle. They were like in 2 rows just talking. And I was walking down and went, whoa, this is calendar ready. This is front of TV guide ready. And I just got my cam phone up and said, "Hey, everybody, uh, you look perfect. You're ready for the calendar. Everybody get in line." And they made their 2 rows and we shot. And it was like ready made. The lighting was just there. I didn't do anything but pull up a camera and tell them to get arranged. And of course, from your own perspective, you don't realize that. You're standing around, you're going to take your standard, same look. But I was just up above and looking down just at the right angle, and it hit me, and I just stopped and just told them, "You'll thank me. You'll thank me." And they have. It was just awesome. And they look good to begin with. But it was so you're very welcome, Gene. And I'm glad you found us here. This is your first time, maybe? Good to see you. So yeah, Sherry, sold out on Saturday, which you would expect. There you go. So Gene's chiming in now. So much more lively and well attended than the last one they did in 2017. Well, what's happened since 2017? It really is a barometer. It really is a marker. Okay, A, all the new series. B, streaming has come to the mainstream and people understood. There were as many people confused about how to stream Discovery as there were people mad at Discovery in 2017. It's hard to remember this now, but that's true. We've got all these series, all the flavors of the buffet. Yes, you can do animation. Yes, you can do comedy. You can still do comedy and have pathos and arcs and characters you love. Yes, you can do a kids show. Yes, you can survive. Serialized storytelling doesn't have to be a botch job, especially if you have a consistent staff. I mean, so much has happened since 2017. And mainly, we've just got more faces. We've got actor faces. We got creatives faces. Terry was a guest at San Fran and was busy all weekend. It was awesome to see him. Yeah. Oh, thank you, John, for updating me. WonderCon has a Strange New and a DSC screening, plus a Q&A. There you go. Well, WonderCon is San Diego's little brother, so there we go. Hey, Mark, thank you very much. Yay, yay, yay. Carl, good to see you. The new place is it's exhaustingly comfortable and refreshing. That makes no sense. It's exhausting right now because we're setting up everything and we have things to do. We can't do everything at once. We can't do everything at once because we're not clones, and we can't do everything at once because we can't clone our money. But we have plans, and we have a guest room again and a huge office. I mean, looking forward to getting a lot done. The yard needs work because, again, nobody lived here. It wasn't overgrown. It's kind of it's not a desert environment, but it's a drier environment. That said, we had monsoons just like everybody else the last month. So we're looking forward to just gradually getting around and getting the stuff done. But number one priority was having a TV nook in the den. But then top 3 priority was getting this ready. I could not delay any longer. 2 weeks was very naive that original day, as it turns out. But I had to be back with you guys today. We had to get back in the swing of things. Dawn, good to see you again too. The Austin St. John and George Lucas issues. And you know what? I'm going to plead ignorance. And I haven't read it, especially if it's not Trek. But I admit it. I have been out of the pipeline. So today, IATSE I was up on. Everything else has been, hey, my experience. So next week, we'll get back into talking topics. We'll get back into having some guests. I've already talked to a couple of authors about coming on, and other people. Can't wait to have them on. But thank you, Don, for that. I'm glad to be back too. And you know what? I had said that we were going to tail this show back to an hour. Okay, I'm kind of blowing that out the window today because I feel like we've got to refill. But going forward, we're really going to try to wrestle this into an hour. Okay, just warning. 20 to 30 minutes of my soapbox, and then maybe 30 minutes or so of Q&A, which is why the super chat is a nice motivator, prioritizer, just to say. How is the Wi-Fi and the infrastructure in around the new house? Well, I was worried about it a little bit. It's a little bit smaller town, a little bit less suburban, but it's fine. It's fine. We went from spectrum to spectrum, no commercial here, and it's great so far. I have to get the extender going in the other part of the house. Thank you. This is it, Don. I'd see this whole proxy fight over Disney and the family going with Bob Iger and the new. I haven't been deep in it, but I saw it was happening, so I'm not up on the issues. So thank you, Don. George Lucas is siding with Iger. You remain neutral and fine with those who are done with Disney and Star Wars for good. I got you. Not my franchise, Monkey Boy. I am so relieved that I could sit back and watch another franchise's problems, issues, melodrama from afar and just be totally not just neutral, but go, I'll just like it or not like it and not be invested either way. Now, if it's a barometer for Trek and other modes, that corporate thinking, whether it's marketing or whether it's production or whether it's how many episodes are in a streaming season, all that kind of thing, it's always worth watching and being up on. Okay. Thank you for sharing, Don. This is Star Wars and your Disney Plus. Right. High School Musical, the musical, the series. Exactly. Yes. We'll always have Star Trek, especially if you have your physical media, which the wall back there will be the physical media video wall, which I don't think was on camera. Before it was right here, but I've got a window here now. So now my video wall can't be right here. It's got to be back here. So am I? Hi, I'm looking at you. Okay. I've got to get lined up. I've gotten sloppy here. Justin, this is correct. I know Kansas City Comic-Con happened. $100,000 in attendance. I had some Portales talking about this. Mark Bolden. Who else? Somebody else was talking about trying to get there. Oh, I think Chris. Yes. That's getting on towards. That's what would that be? 5/8 of a San Diego? That was insane, especially if the infrastructure is not ready for it. Oh boy, Don, you're getting into issues here I'm not familiar with, but hit Adolf reference while promoting Warrior. Okay. Let's see. See, Dave, how are you doing, Dave? Really good now that Larry's back. You guys. Sherry, it's not my idea. The lifers on Saturday morning. And look, Saturday morning, I think the drinking was more caffeine at 10 a.m. Saturday morning. The gang, in fact, here, it became such a thing. Look at this depth. I have. So you can still get these on TeePublic. We even had the life support live. See there? We even had the drinking game here. This is the lifers did this. They created this. I think this was Jared Cooper's idea. Drink whenever anyone sings, whenever anyone does an impression, whenever anyone mentions Tapestry, when Larry mentions McCoy, and when Ali mentions the Kelvin timeline. And I think there have been some additions since then. But look at this. Isn't this amazing? Yeah. So, Sherry, we do not encourage or condone the excessive use of alcohol or any such thing, especially on a quasi-mental health show, okay? Just so you don't get the wrong idea. Oh, Blue Heart. There you go, Dave. Miss Dr. Ali. Well, like I said, you can see our video from Virtual TrekCon. That's up. And this Saturday at 10 a.m., our old time slot, 10 a.m. Pacific, the 30-minute-ish recording with Sirach from STSF will be up. Yes, Andy is a gem. And thank you, Christoph, for concerning about the streaming gremlins. The thing that happened at the beginning, it's so funny. On that life support live for Virtual TrekCon, I swear to God, we were 10 minutes into it, and my internet at the old place, our power blinked, blinked and came right back, but the modem had to reset, and that took 10 minutes. I almost wish we had the big old blue S from when we had the Skype issues, because we used Restream in the pandemic when everything was becoming virtual and people were rushing and all the virtual infrastructure was not ready for it. And Restream, you had to use Skype if you wanted to dial in to Restream. Anyway, it was insane. And Skype was not, I hadn't used Skype in ages. So there we go. Andy is a gem. Yes. John X, I totally are with you on that. More big E's. If you guys just had the population to support it. Yeah. That's all you need. I'm going to try to be at Chicago. We'll see what the sponsorship and the business end of things look like there. JR, I don't know if she knows or not, but I have something coming on this. If it hadn't been for the move, we would have already, but stay tuned. Stay tuned on that. The Trek fallow years, boy, I remember those. Yeah, I know. We've got so many fans who came in with Discovery, and everything before Discovery was just a Netflix wall. There you go. Sydney, thanks. Like I said, welcome back to you too on the Portales side. Hey, Carl, welcome. You loved the traveling Star Trek cons that came to Salt Lake from the 80s to the aughts. It was a variety of companies that would put on these quickie cons. They were local and great. Yeah, there was, before it was the name of a studio, before Spielberg and Katzenberg and SKE, who was E, oh my God, music guy. Before they started DreamWorks, the studio, there was a convention company called DreamWorks Conventions and other ones that came and went. But DreamWorks was the big competitor to Creation in those days. Yes. Well, see, we used to call them the carpetbagger cons. They'd show up, rent 2 rooms, bring in a couple of guests from Hollywood, and then leave with nothing. And we were trying to do our local fan-run nonprofits and benefit a charity, and we would hate it when they would jump us. I would always talk about the carpetbagger cons and the chain store cons, versus your local, your mom and pop convention that's supporting people, locals, and and your unwashed, your armchair fans that didn't know all that. They didn't know. They just saw the advertising on TV, which the local cons could never afford, or at least not to that degree. It was a big deal to run one commercial 2 or 3 times for ThunderCon in the beginning. Yeah. Yeah, JR, that's exactly what San Fran was. And I think somebody might, yeah. See, no, John, let's agree. I created the term. Here's for my term. The fallow years were 2005 to 2017. The remasters were fine, but that was just rinse and repeat. I mean, the effects, it gave us something to cling to, just like the Kelvin movies gave people something to cling to. But it wasn't new, and it wasn't prime. And I'm not knocking the Kelvins, as I say many times. If they cared more about the Kelvins, then I would care more about the Kelvins. But 6 hours of a stub universe does not emotional attachment make. I'm only human. I got 800 hours here. I got 6 hours here. What are you going to be more invested in? All I'm saying. And it was such a relief when I realized that whole attitude was only about the math. If you're human and math exists, you should not feel guilty for not caring about the Kelvins. Now, if it was your first trek, that's all out the window. If it's your first trek, you've got 6 hours versus 0. Well, of course, do the math on that one. And everything else comes later, because as I always say, you never forget your first. Yep. You bet. Of course, of course. And there's probably more folks I should be mentioning, but I'm not. Oh, Dave, I did not know you were a train nerd. It turns out that, I mean, I had so much stuff so many quivers in my arrows that I was a nerd about a lot of things. Used to be fans, and that was your hobby. We didn't use the terms nerds and geeks. We were just a hobbyist. But yeah, trains and then model railroading. And turns out our good friend John Champion is too. So that's our early on a visit agenda. Yeah. This is what I mean, Don. This is what I mean. Season 2 more than season 1, 3, and 4. You're more hyped about season 2 of Prodigy than the final season Discovery. There you go. And you're hyped about those who are hyped about being happy about being hyped. Is this what you're saying? Yay. Okay, Alan. There you go. I had a fan in Riverside come down and take the perfectly preserved museum quality 70s Riviera sleeper sofa and a coffee table from a reasonable price, but a bargain price. So much museum quality stuff here. Boom. Some theater screenings for Discovery. Sure, their last chance to squeeze the onion on that. There you go. Where did I get that? Murph, he's been back there. The New York Comic Con had them as giveaways, and Anne Marie Siegel grabbed it. There was a huge rush to get them as a con exclusive, and then halfway through the weekend, it was so underattended. Not underattended. It was so, the Star Trek booth, the long lines happened Friday. By Sunday, they were just throwing them at people. Should have got 2 or 3, but I wasn't there. So thank you, New York Comic Con 2 years ago, and thank you, Anne Marie. And Cadet Alice cried when I didn't let her take it home because I wanted it for the set. But she got to take her Dal and her Gwen home. Yep. Watch your screener thingies. Okay, JR. It wasn't my fault that they sent them when I had all of this to do, okay? Would you rather have me watch the screeners or be here in halfway presentable form with you today? Don't worry. That's next. I'm going to take some time over the nights. I don't like to watch all 18 screeners at once, though. I just like to watch 1 or 2 at a time. And then, as Scott will say, do your second opinions early. That's funny. Thank you for screaming. Yeah. It's amazing, isn't it? Gosh, John, it's almost as if somebody heard me say, hashtag use the universe. Almost as if. Yeah. Okay. Don, you enjoyed season 1, but season 2 is your favorite, is your number 1 season. So season 2 is your number 1. Got it. You have the bridge number 1. Are you bearded or long black hair? I know. And the score by Jeff Russo. Right. What if season 5 is so good it'll get an animated season 6 or a streaming film? Well, never say never, JR. Never say never. Yeah, here's the thing. This is where we may finally in American TV, people a lot of times will say, I do, will use the terms year and season interchangeably, because a season was 9 months of a year. You had 26 shows. That's technically half, but with the holiday breaks and the reruns and everything, you would get, that long a year. 10 weeks is not a year. So we may finally, when we talk about Discovery needed 7 years, well, that was like production time. It was not 7 years of airing episodes. So I would say 7 seasons, the old 7 seasons, is not 7 years. Yeah. And again, this is like the Emperor's has been so, the emperor of the streaming industry model has been so exposed as having no clothes thanks to the strike and the pandemic. Like, who said 10 episodes for 3 seasons is the model? Netflix did, and what the hell is Netflix gonna, are they crashing and burning? They just kind of bravely got out there. The world will not infinitely always have more subscribers to sign up. Eventually, something's got to make money besides new signups. Adam, glad you could join us, man. The bluish bird is Baby Murph, Sherry. And that tribble is screen used from Trials and Tribulations. I've not opened the battery case, but it was a walking tribble that Gary Monak gave to me. Yes, indeed. I have pictures of it in the pile, and then where he turns them all over with the wheels and the walking legs, exactly the same way they did it in the 60s. Oh, this is TMNT Day? Okay. Turtle power. All righty. Hello, Dominic. It's good to see everybody turned out today. I guess we kept you hanging, huh? So yes, we're going over a little overtime today. Thank you guys for hanging in with me. We're up to like 90 minutes or so. That's not too bad. But you loved all of Disco, especially Grudge. Okay. Haven't done much rewatching. I haven't either. I can't wait to rewatch Disco to see how my stomach reacts during the first year. The musical episode 6 times. I know. I was listening to I'm Ready the other day and think, oh my God, the combination of, and Jess Bush is amazing. But that, the choreography and the lighting and the songwriters, and we haven't dived near enough into the musical composition and just so much of that. And I personally had a great time at San Fran. And I know people, the locals, all say, no one calls it San Fran. Well, I call it San Fran because SF, A, sounds stupid, and B, I was brought up to say SF and not sci-fi. So if you say SF to me, I'm either thinking sci-fi or I'm thinking the second half of Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe. And San Fran, I don't know why it's googie to people, and I know people in the Bay Area, it makes a lot of their teeth clench when you say San Fran. But to me, it's just sitting there. It's like this. I know LA is LA, but that's a consonant and a vowel. And there's nothing. And Louisiana is saying, hey, what about us with their zip code state abbreviation? I know. So this is one of those things where we can go on and on and on, like 3-letter series abbreviations, codes. But whatever. JR, I think if nothing else, someday this may be the name of a docuseries. It ought to be. Yes, Long Hot Labor Summer. Yes, I totally agree. There you go, Christoph. Cluing her in. That's good. Okay, here. I was doing the profile there. Is that better? Here. Since everybody's wondering, he's been back there for a couple of years, see? And Cadet Alice and I were waiting to see what happens to Murph on Prodigy, but this is the way we first met him, and now he just looks like a little alien thing with arms and legs. He was much more of an enigma as a blob. But, all good things. All good things. But no, he's not a bird. He's, there you go. I know he does look a little pigeon-esque. So blame some of that on the manufacturing needs of a plushie. Yeah. See? Nickelodeon. Totally. I thought it was a sample that was going to be retail sold, but no, it turns out it was completely a con exclusive. They made them for New York Comic Con, and then they're gone. And I think they're probably, I checked, maybe they're like $100 or $200 now, which is part of the reason why it stayed here and did not go home with Cadet Alice. She could wait on some action figures, which also may eventually zoom up. Hey, Melanie, whoop, whoop, whoop. Your sensor's tied in. Yes, I'm glad you could get her. Murph, hashtag Murph Bird. Well, Murph is just, angry because he's lost out the cute awards to Moopsie. There's apparently going to be Moopsies before licensed before there are more Murphs. There you go, JR. Pittsburgh has a thriving film community. Yeah. The F in Murph is for flying. I don't know. John X, what did I miss here? You're thinking, you're zeroing. I don't know. Good to know. The indie filmmakers were totally in solidarity. Yeah. Well, Cairo, this is exactly the point. And it's okay to be selfish about the Star Trek perspective, but now magnify that over everything. The last thing we need is another strike. They can't. Hopefully, that's affecting both sides, and not as a crowbar on the unions. Hopefully, the producers are not stupid enough to hold that over them. Like, do you really want another strike? This is going to be on you if you cause it. It's like, no, you need to learn the lessons of last year and treat us. It's not even about respect, just the transparency. Streaming had been this mystery thing, and trust us, we're going to put some numbers out and we're going to make decisions, and it's magic and it's new and who knows what's going to. That's out the window. That's just total BS. No, there are numbers. There's dollars. There's hours. There's view times. You know what the hell they are. Now show it so everybody gets paid adequately, much less even knows what the scale of things are. The old residual system, you knew when things ran. You knew when they reran. It was all above board. And streaming was just a big magic box. No. Thank you, JR. I will accept your invitation. I think we quasi found it. What in the hairy is a Murph bird? Well, apparently that. Looking pigeonish. Linda, good to see you too. Absolutely. Adrian. WonderCon on Saturday, hopefully. Manning the LAOA team booth 3 to 5 p.m. All right, Adrian, that is a bet. I will try to get. I forget where the fan booths are at WonderCon if it doesn't shift around. But come by the panel if you can. Thank you, girl. And thank you. This is, decorated. The officey part is here. That's the decoration for the set, hopefully to be practical. But the wall, that's going to change. Once I get the video, the wall can be attached when it's permanent, and the videos and the DVD, I say videos, the DVD and Blu-rays will be in that, and some books. And there you go. Thank you again, Christoph. I'll say it here too. 7 o'clock. So we are 7 to 8. James Kerwin and I, canon smoothing and gap filling for Star Trek Sanity, and the big picture. There you go. And we'll have some trivia and some prizes too when you're there. It's been you guys. It's been there for a year and a half. It really has. He was back on the. Go back and find a picture. He's back there. Yes, there is a doctor on board. There's a couple of us. Absolutely. Hey, Di. Well, it depends on CinderCon. I need to check in with them and see if I never expect. I'm always grateful that they had me back. I guess I'm like a rabbit's foot or something. I don't know. My homies. So I need to check in. I hope so. Let there be screeners we anxiously await. Apparently, yes, apparently that is what I said. Because Adrian, who knows? Who among us can predict the future? Right? Far be it from me to speak concretely about every second of every moment to come over the years ahead. Right? That's it. Cairo. This chat is for OnlyFans, right? Apparently so. Who else would want to sit and listen to this? Very funny. Let the sunlight in. Nice natural sun look in the new studio. I mean, I know, but it didn't work in the other one. It was too hot. I mean, when we would do life support in the morning from 10 a.m. to noon, I would go from, like cloudy to hot. there'd be a hot spot, not hot temperature, a hot spot. I just had to neutralize and balance everything and not keep messing with it. Here, I think we'll see how this works. We'll see how this works. I may miss my my unused postal cardboard mailers up against the thing. That was too funny. Trek OF. Oh, so you watched that virtual Trek fans too, huh? Okay. Let's see here. Lurk, how's that spelled? Lurk, the dogs do bark. Yes, that's how you spell it, Di. Absolutely. Oh, you guys are on a roll. I think I rested you too. Ha ha ha, Adrian. There will be 4 porn lights. Absolution. What are you saying? Do these away missions with Larry, folks. He's awesome. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Adrian. Yes. Well, it's a great idea, and people are like, what? You can do this. And not to be confused with Star Trek Tours, which are the sets that James has in upstate New York. Yes. I think you all got as much of a rest as I did, or quasi-arrest. Yes, JR. You can be my long-lost pal. Thank you. I started to say Neil Simon, not Neil Simon. Oh my gosh, that's the playwright. Oops. Ouch, STV. What did I bop something? STV, Star Trek Vegas. No, Star Trek 5? Yeah, I guess so. Well, I mean, Carl, you're not alone. It's my biggest following. I can't dump it. And I can't tell if it's moderating a little bit or what. There's still activity. My world on Twitter X is still decent people. It's Trek people, and some politics and some OU football, and some Okies, but it's 90% Trek people. So of course it's always going to be the decent corner of X. Yay, I'm glad, Cairo. I was going to keep that going because I could do that on the run. Now, guest night is a little more tricky, but our roundtable's easy to do. And I do need to get the guests realigned and vote. And always good advice, Linda. Yes, absolutely. Well, here's the thing, JR. It always made total sense to me. Because if you're not awoke, then you're asleep. You are shut down to outside stimulus. I get angry when I find out things that they never told me, like the Tulsa race massacre, like all these things, not just about black-white relations, but tons of things that I was never aware of, like redlining. I didn't know that until 15 years ago. So much shit that is not known that you have to be awake to get, because otherwise you slept through it and it's not your fault. They didn't tell you. They kept it from you. They buried the history. I started to say Tea House of the August Moon. The Osage oil scandals were in Oklahoma. Oh, that movie made me so mad. Not the movie, but the idea that all that happened had been buried, just like and I was an Okie. The Osage murders, the Osage oil murders, and the Tulsa race massacre. Both things in Oklahoma, both we grew up not knowing anything. That's what I mean when I say stay woke. Stay woke to all that shit they never told you. Or no one ever made, because the world you grew up in, you had no clue. I had no idea the way other cultures lived, worked, and most of all, were being abused. And I don't mean necessarily physically abused, but I mean just the systemic. I totally get it. That's the redlining is the very definition of systemic discrimination. The stuff the shit you never knew until you learn it later. That's what I'm talking about. And the things, it's not your fault because no one told you, or you had no way to know until somebody communicated with you. And sometimes the groups affected don't even realize what's being done to them. Yeah. Vote as if your life depended on it, because it probably will. Very true. Increasingly in numbers. We've gone from marginalized communities to whole mainstreams. Yeah. Like women are 51% of the population. Okay. There's the chat recount. Ooh, I better move along. Um, thanks for all of you who keep track of this. It's a public service. I know. Rolling back on the chat. Thank you, Sherry. Thank you. I invite everyone to go over and follow me if you're not. Not an a. Oh, I'll. It'll be normal, Christoph. We'll get it. Tobias's nickname. Let's see. Sean, well, thank you for bopping in for a minute. Yeah, I've been too busy to do a good live for 6 weeks now, 7 weeks. I know the feeling. Yeah. Way too busy. Just hearing you talk about how much you packed in the containers makes Worf's back hurt. I get that. Without even using gravity to attack. Yes, yes. Starship built at Shipyard IKEA. There you go. Hey, Willie, good to see you. There you go. Hey, Adrian, love how I can help. Love what you do. Thank you. Do you mean like in a Patreon way, or do you mean like coming and unload boxes, or what? I'm up for taking almost a Helen. Yes, Helen. Hope you got home safe. Thank you for doing all of that, Sherry. Thank you. Thank you. It's like, okay, well, at least I think I might have room to put some people now. I at least have a guest room now. Military plane spotting, that's fun. I know it's not my thing. I don't even do train spotting anymore. Not, and I don't mean just the movie. Wait, you miss frequent moves when you would purge? Now it's all been stuck in the house for 30 plus years. Yeah, there you go. Everybody in your comments, yes, haven't moved in a while, and how much stuff is built up that you need to sell because you got way too much. Why is there a thumb speech bubble? I'm not sure. Did I say that? I don't know. Oh, there are some reaction bubbles popping up too so far. Thumbs down. What's with that? I don't know. Huh. Okay, some weird restream chat thing or something in YouTube or something. I don't know. Okay. Okay. Yeah, Carl. Somebody reminded me to not be obsessed about it. Just to let stuff happen. Yeah, I agree with you, JR. STFS a hell of a lot more lively than Mission Chicago because partly the vendors room was so spread out, and it was just a compact hotel. It was a hotel con, not a convention center con. So the bar was right there. I mean, it was just yes. I think the latter. I think both, but it wasn't so much experience as it was. Chicago was just in the middle of chaos. The studio and Reed Pop were on the vendor side and on the talent side, programming. 2 or 3 people. We dealt with 2 or 3 people over the course of that year and a half. Like you'd get in with somebody and then they would be gone, and somebody else would say, "Hi, I'm taking their place." It was crazy, and a lot of that was pandemic employment chaos. No, I'm not seeing the thumb speech bubbles. Nope. Yeah, when you move, it's the stability's nice, but you do accumulate stuff. Wait, what? Property got sold 6 years ago, and they never raised the rent gradually. Each year is requested to comply with Section 8. The property was sold again last year, and they suddenly raised the rent 40%, which is illegal. They cannot evict me, but I can't stay forever. It's a mess. I'm so sorry, Melanie. All the Craigslist ads are scams. They demand money up front before viewing a unit. And nobody will allow me to keep all 3 of my cats, and I will not abandon them. So I need housing. Oh my gosh, Melanie. Do you have any allies, any agencies there that can help you out? Yikes. Well, I appreciate that, Sherry. Thank you. Don't think we saw the physical media at the Paramount box. Oh, yeah. Somebody, I think Scott or somebody went, oh, a Paramount box. I'm like, oh, yeah, they're like 30 years old. Where do you see a Paramount box here? I have some. They're hinged. They're not like a lid. They're hinged. When you would put something in the archives, that's what you drop it in there. Whether it filled up I'll show and tell a Paramount box sometime. Kind of like the Paramount distribution envelopes that had all the spaces when you would send something around. I have 1 or 2 of those. You don't even think about how those things are like relics now, but they are. It is a great day. The Klingons will sing songs of this move and tree lands. I know what you meant. That's very funny, John. That's funny. I'm going to screen grab that one. You need that cup. Well, Linda, it's there at TeePublic. You can go over. It's still there. Yeah. I haven't seen much of Jared lately. He was a little upset that we didn't announce the Life Sport Live at Creation, but we didn't know until the Monday before the Saturday. We had pitched it, but it didn't get confirmed. First, it was gone, and then they brought it back 5 days before. So I didn't know. Went from the show. Oh, you guys are just killing me here. That's cute. I don't know. I'm not getting a thumbs down vibe from you guys. I have no idea what it is. There you go, Sherry. Yeah. It's at the what has McCoy? Oh, McCoy's on the, yeah, sure. It's at the TeePublic shop. Same one I always mention. Drink. So some of you who were lifers, so Charlotte Brockman was there in our audience, and then of course Scott and Kyle. So we had 3 lifers, and at one point I did a little bit of an impersonation or a little bit of a song or something. It wasn't a big deal. And I heard about 5 or 6 people go, drink, in the audience. It was in the dark with the lights in our faces. So, hey, good to see you again. And I don't think I've ever asked if it was Kaylin. I'm going to butcher your name, and I should know it by now after all this. But thank you. Thank you. It's amazing. This is always a thing to come up with a topic every week and know that this isn't like fully sponsored, but I appreciate all the Patreons, but you know what I mean. And but it's good to see everybody. I've really enjoyed this, and I've gone long over my hour here. Hey Linda, I can't wait for you to see it too. Again, it's only 30 minutes, the live from San Francisco, the in-person, but the one from VTC is up, and it's old school. We kept it simple, but it's old school. And we had an hour we had an hour and a half. VTC gave us 90 minutes, which was very cool. Hey, Christoph, you keep talking about the Star Trek Stardust gin. Yeah. Oh, very good. Very good. Here at nearly midnight, right? Or after midnight, actually. What do we got then? Same Trek time, same Trek channel. Yes, sometimes I say warp. Same warp time, same warp channel. Let's see. See, this is me. Hey, Allie. Good to see you too, girl, from around the world. Yes, those that fell into the group of Discovery was my first Star Trek. Disco was my first dance. And I'm still so curious about hearing thoughts from those people. Me too. See, you get it. They're going to have a perspective that no one else does. And a few years from now, I think they're going to come out of the closet, and we'll find how many armchair first-time Trek fans with Disco there were, just like we had the first-time Kelvin fans, and that was their first Trek. And they may get very savvy, or they might not, but they may be very savvy about the whole franchise. But you can't ever undo your first. That's always going to color how you see the rest of the franchise, especially if it even recolors how you saw your first. Definitely. Tons of new people. And see, that's the thing. New fans, they don't know where they're supposed to go hang out. They don't know what they're supposed to say or where they're supposed to go, what they're supposed to do. They just enjoy the show. And maybe eventually, after a year or two, they find online, if they're real active online anyway, but if they're just laid back people who enjoyed it, they don't know they're supposed to go to Vegas. They don't know they're supposed to find all the hot spots. They don't know they're supposed to jump into the culture wars and defend Discovery's representation against the idiots, or even the people that just didn't think that was always Star Trek's best foot forward, or the fact that it evolved from year to year to year to year to year. Thank you. I felt so guilty about not enjoying ST09 until somewhere between ST09 and STID, or maybe right after STID came out. This simple feeling, this simple fact finally dawned on me, and I stopped feeling guilty. And I could just relax. That and the fact that I saw how many fans the Kelvins brought in. Those two things. Hey, Marina. Yay, girl. We were talking all in all about San Francisco earlier on. So I think you missed that. Those 800 hours, though. There's clinkers in the 800 hours. That's the downside of the 26 episode season. 1 out of 5 are just going to be exhaustos. and the writers will say that. Start to say the guys. There were occasionally women, but that's, Ron, Renee, Ira, they would all go, there's an Aquiel. There's what's the DS9 one? Oh, Adrian, you're a trained nerd too. Yay. Yeah, the Kelvin movies are why TrekMovie.com exists. Was Tony's step up into filling the gap since Communicator fell apart and the internet was new and StarTrek.com was not keeping up. Okay. And well, it's a real train underground here in Trek fandom. I'm developing a new theory right now. Yes. Some of you may know that he was a Queen Mary nerd, and he's a retro, 30s, 40s vintage fan and loves the fashion and the dress. But there you go. Be still my heart. And tell him when you get off on a train conversation, tell him that Dr. Trek sent you. Okay. Ooh, cool. Okay, Dave, you're 3 or 4 up on me, so we'll see. Thank you, Marina, for recapping the story. The Murph exclusives at NYCC, 30-minute grab, all were gone. I thought they wound up having, by the end of the week, like that was the daily quota, and the next day they had plenty. I thought there were some that they were giving away at the end. And still nothing. Yeah. No, John, you can't forget about second opinion. It's coming. It's coming. I need to get a second opinion thing, a pillow or something. Apparently, everybody's forgetting about it. We'll get back there. There you go. Another satisfied, grateful Murph collector. And Helen, you won a Murph on the cruise. There you go. Yay. I had to get a Murph. I had to get a Murph for Cadet Alice. What are you saying? Doctor Who has more train episodes than Star Trek. Okay. I know. 8 years, 5 seasons. Short seasons. And gradually shrinking from 15 to 14 to 13. Oh, yeah. Yes, they're all trained nerds on BBT also, yes. Here we go. We got Allie talking. Kelvin wasn't your first, but it was the first Trek that drew you back in. You grew up watching Trek, but never had a deep connection with it. Too young, right? Well, there you go. And that's why, Allie, I always enjoyed talking to you. And when I first tracked you down at Vegas after seeing your socials pop up, we need a Maglev train episode of SNW. Yeah, we had a space elevator episode on Voyager. What was that show? Voyager, Lift, and then we got it on Prodigy too. Well, great, Sherry. I don't know exactly what you've learned today, but I'm all for education. I'm all for learning at least one new thing every day, even if it's the most insignificant bit of fact. Sometimes they're huge and they kind of crush you because you didn't hear about it sooner. There you go. Well, Helen, I mean, sure, you do. Hey, Dominic. You're glommed onto my hash here. Speaking of using the universe, I'd like to see the backup of Voyager's Doctor from Living Witness in Disco. I think it could line up time-wise. Doc is yes, and there's Bob right there waiting to come in and do it. But is it going to happen? Did they do it in season 5? Because if not, it'll have to wait for the Disco movie. Yeah. Saying SF harshly sounds like you're swearing at me for some reason. Well, SF can also be confused with as if. SF. Thank you, Adrian. Adrian. I'm going to stop doing that someday. The city. Well, that's what everybody calls. See, that's what everybody around Oklahoma City calls Oklahoma City. But it's got city in the name. It's okay. San Francisco doesn't have the city. People say the metro, the metroplex, the Southland. People have a little nickname for everything. But when I was little, hey, we're going to go to the city this weekend. And it wasn't because we were in the country and we're going to the city. It was the capital C city because it was Oklahoma City. So that doesn't count. And that's legit. And yeah, that's just lazy calling it the city. We need a drinking game aircraft flyovers. You wish. Planes are replacing fire engines. Well, okay. Sometimes they drop a lot more chemical liquid than a fire engine can. Here's one right now. Funny enough, we're circling back, but here's a plane. This is not the noisiest one. Can we hear that? It's only going to be annoying when I'm recording Second Opinion or Trek Files. Yep. See, we're circling back around. The plane. Was it a Globe Master? Ooh. Watch out for the plane windows and doors. I know. Well, these are military, so hopefully they're actually. Oh, Allie, I bet you're excited about this. A Rolaren X06. Yep. Very good. Yes, Moopsie is finally available, or at least pre-order as official merch. Now that half of you have the unlicensed Chinese Moopsie. Well, that's happened with books before. So there you go. Your brackets before tomorrow. I can't believe it's like, oh, it's March Madness. Okay, what? What? I'm not a big basketball fan anyway, but it was kind of weird to wake up and go, oh, I bet March Madness is happening. Rico, for the love of God, stop saying San Fran. And it's like nails on a chalkboard whenever you say it. In other news, welcome back. See, I don't understand Rico, but then who says I'm supposed to? So I've had people in the chat say it's fine. I've had people in the chat who live there say that. But then I know the people like you. Lolita's the same way. She's like, don't say San Fran. But good to see you, man. Rico Anderson's in the house, everybody. Famous actor and truck fan. Yeah, I say it every week, Adrian. Stay woke, check the sources. It goes both ways. It's like wake up to being fed misinformation, which I use, and I say wake up to all the stuff they never told you, which could be racial, which could be cultural, which could be just the science. You know, Galileo died for their sins. Well, this is what I used to think, but it's also very easy to cram anything at people who are too lazy to check it out for themselves, or they fall for it. You know, somewhere along the way, we lost the, if it's too good to be true, it probably isn't. You know, oh, Adrian, you're too insane. Well, I hopefully I have a wife if I can't do this myself, that last one. But thank you. I thought I might even, now that everybody's so, I was thinking perception wise, this might be a fur piece. But between the train museum and Gene Roddenberry's training ground, maybe sometime this year, I have a big, I actually have a garage sale, or I have a lawn sale of Trek stuff that needs stuff that's not really valuable, and I've just kept it for prizes and giveaways and things, and I still should. But I thought I sold my 1986 Star Trek collector plates, and we were just talking about how they've come back into value, into style and value. Collecting plates, I mean, you know, the plate we always would get my grandma when we go on vacation she had a plate wall, and that was our thing. It was always easy to get my grandma Reynolds' vacation gift. It was just get a plate from where we were. And so now I've got the 8 or 10 that we gave her over there. But the Star Trek plates became not a thing. And I thought I was saying, oh, I sold mine 10 years ago when they were, I never sold them. I found the box. I still have the set of 80, the original Star Trek collector's plate. The magazine ads would always have the Spock one. Remember magazines? Thank you. Okay. Hey, Jared, were your ears burning? We were just talking about the drinking game for life support. STSF looked pretty much like the old Chicago Creation Cons, GR. I was told that it looked pretty much like the old San Francisco, the old Bay Area Creation Cons too. Rose, you're here too. Good afternoon. Yay. Top chat to you, Rose. Yes, across the pond. Dan, you're here too. Too late. It was very stressful. But you just plow through. You just plow through that tunnel. The whole thing about calling it a cave and a tunnel, come out on the other side, if you can, totally the right concept. So apparently everyone's going to figure out what the thumbs down, heart, people are hitting something accidentally. Who knows? Your wish is our command over at VTC. What did I say, Anne Marie? What did I say? That's right. You're not on, but you don't call it DST. You call it summertime, and the living is easy. I didn't sing it. It's midnight, I'm not famous yet. Yes, you're still in the gap. Oh, okay. Oh, what are you saying here, Christoph? T Public. And I know the Europeans hate T Public. It's ridiculous. The postage is worse than the price cost. This, by the way, is T Public also. Well, thank you. Thank you for the plug, Christoph. Where's my Picard facepalm when I need it? Thank you, Carl. This has been a really good day, everybody. I really appreciate everybody popping up here. No super chats, but that's okay, I guess. Somebody feel free to throw in a buck or two, everybody. I don't lean into that near enough. No daily quotas on the Murphs. Single giveaways period on Saturday, and that was it. If any remained, they weren't given to the public. Oh, really? I thought I heard people talking about how it was ridiculous because there'd been the mad dash on Friday or Saturday, and then by Sunday they were almost giving them away. Okay, then I've got that wrong. What? Vertiform City? Trivia fact: the hayseed on the train that says Vertiform City, that was Lolita Faggio's first husband. Yes, Arlie Reed. There's your K3 factor for today, everybody. Oh, it was Rise. That's right. Where did I get Lift? It's like it's been turboized. Oh, Sherry, you learned about Murph, the drinking game, and the Tribble. We're so educational. Here at TTL. Oh, now we're gonna drink when Larry says, "Adrian." I promise I won't keep beating her up with it. I promise. Maybe some acoustic tiles to noise dampen just in that area. Well, that would be a lot of it. This was the room that got painted the best first because so much was going to be crammed in here. The rest of the place, it'll be easy to finish paint. We didn't have enough time to get the walls painted. That's why I said a month was ridiculous. We didn't know we'd be spending so much time on old furniture, and you should go back and look at some of the videos I did on it, some of my Instagram little reels. It was like a 60s, 70s museum. And I say that in the best way. I wish we'd had time to try to estate sale some of the furniture. It's incredible. Good. Okay. That's good. Some of them are lighter, like the one that just went over. But sometimes I think they're big, heavy, loaded C-130s. Okay. Don, what do you... Okay, I miss what you're laughing at. See, that's the only thing about this latter chat. Oh, Marina, I'm so glad you're here bopping in like you do in the unofficial Moopsie that talks. Yes, it squeaks. Moopsie. Well, Dave, that's what my grandma used to say. A talking bone sucker puts it over the top. The internet is a double-edged sword. Absolutely. Could I also run a Trek Stuff silent auction? You mean online? I mean, I have Trekland Trunk. That's just slow and laborious. I'm just thinking about maximizing it. But I know if it's something that's really, really, really valuable, if I had a charity, if I had a thing, I already talked to John, and I was going to talk to Trevor with Roddenberry about doing stuff, but their warehouse is cram full. We also have neighbors with dogs. Can you hear the dogs? JR, we're gonna think about it because I have, as people have alluded to, moving, you accumulate, and I've got things I forgot I had, like the plates. I thought I'd sold them. I tried 2 or 3 times, no takers. But I hear that the whole plate vibe, much less it's been 10 years. My God, I was selling stuff the last time we moved, like 11 years ago, and that's when I started Trekland Trunk. You can go like the Facebook page, and that's just what I called so it didn't seem so greasy used car salesman-y. You can go look at the page and scroll back and see. And occasionally, when I know people, especially people who work the studio, who have things to sell, like right now, I know somebody who has some enterprise as an NX01 has some panels, some very specific rare panels, at least one, and they're wanting to get a good collector in league with it. Find out who a top collector of that kind of thing is. So if anybody knows somebody who is into graphic panels and or especially from Enterprise, let me know. Let me know in the comments. No, just flag me on the side. DM or slide into my DMs. I love how we've gone from Netflix and chill to slide into my DMs. And I'm amazed people haven't come up with all kinds of new definitions for DMs in that context. Why did no one think of this? San Francisco. Exactly. Yeah. LOL from me too, Don Don. Trekland in Western Europe. I missed the setup for that, Don Don. Okay. Glenn, how could we have the first show without you back? Yes, yes, yes. But you're here. Exactly, everybody. How is that a thing? How is that a thing? Oh, JR. Thank you. Ka-ching. Okay. A buck or two. Thank you. Did I guilt you into it or just look pathetic? What did I do? This is not the vibe of YouTube. This is not how YouTube is supposed to look. Yeah, YouTube Jinx. Okay, Adrian. Some of your favorite people have said your name that way, so it hasn't worn out. Okay, it's my name. Don't wear it out. Okay, Purple Heart. Was that from injury? Yeah. Okay, are we getting down to you like a good C-130 spotting? Well, you like a leopard, like a cougar. Sorry. Thank you, Christoph. Are we getting close to the end of these 7 weeks build up? You know, that green liquid plumber to unclog your chat build up. Yes. Yes to hearing the dogs. We're also back in real time now. We're moving it live. Moving it live. Ian, my goodness, people are still showing up. Hello, Ian. You missed the whole front end of TTL, but we'll be here every week. Tip your waiters. No. You know what, Ian? Here's the thing. It'll be on YouTube. Yeah. The long version. The edited front end will be there too, but this chat is so entertaining. I don't know. Okay. Well, there we go. Drink. Oh, Larry boy. Slide into my dilithium matrix. Okay. Well then. There you go. Thank you, Christoph. I couldn't have said it better myself. Like, subscribe, spread the word, check your sources, truck well, and live long and prosper. My moving posts were inspiring and motivating. Don't tell me I've become an influencer. Dum dum dum. Yes, it's the end of the chat. We know it. And do you feel fine? And are you my long lost pal? No, I'm mixing. We're crossing the song streams. Play the Star Trek sound effects album for your neighbor's dogs. Hi, Ian. You're the Scottish Trekkie. Okay, absolutely. Yeah, I know. I remember your name, but we haven't talked. So very good. This has been an awesome chat. I think you guys are just all rusty. I mean, there's nothing online live to compare to Tuesday afternoon, right? You just missed it. Oh, I'm a moving influencer now. It's so moving. I need to post about moving every week now. No. It's PTSD to post about it, much less do it. Although I feel compelled to do updates now. Look, I have hacked out a little. It really feels like settling the frontier, which I know is colonialist. I know that's whatever, but it feels like we're hacking out hunks of the untamed frontier here. There you go, Rose. Top cat for you. Top chat for you. Yes, hard no on that moving blogging. LOL. Well, you all should. Gang, I think we really are at the end of the chat as we know it. It's been a little over 2 hours, but I feel like it was. I had things to say that were pent up. Whether anybody outside of this will pay attention or not, who knows? Maybe we'll cut down the San Fran. Sorry, Rico. Maybe we'll cut down the STSF talk. Maybe we'll cut down the IATSE talk too. But seeing everybody in the chat here, I didn't think about the chat being so, I don't know, enriching, giving me a little energy here. But it's been so great. And I know people are coming and going in shifts, but it's been really so great to see so many names because not everybody's here every Tuesday. But the second shift that started coming in half an hour ago, it's been great to see all you guys too. So yes, live logs and prosper. And I will say one more time, when you do it late, I don't get to really do it, but I will say once more, thank you, JR, for the super chat. I'll try not to spend it all in one place, but update on my book. Do you mean stellar cartography? Hi, William. If you mean that, that's a thing that we have to settle this before I start looking. And Con of Wrath is going to get finished literally before we're going to get a path and a plan to finally get that wrapped up. And that's what's going to happen. But yes, hard no on the moving influencer. Somebody else can do that one. Somebody else can take it. And we'll figure out what the thumbs down thing was going on, whatever. Oh, Adrienne, got you through your gym workout. Very good. We aim to please. We aim to serve. So everybody, I think we're going to call it there. Thank you so much. It's been so good to see everybody again. Like and share everything. Do all the things, right? And again, if you or someone you know might be interested in the Trekland Trek, the interest is already percolating. I had one deposit made that we had to cancel during the LA monsoons. We've had more people asking. I think people are waking up. So yeah, if you or someone you know is interested in your own custom away mission, jump on that. Flag me. We will work it out. We will no surprises as much as possible. We will have an awesome day despite the crazy LA traffic, whatever's going on. And once again, thanks so much to all of our Patreons. If you're thinking about trying to support what we're doing here at Trekland, especially on the live streams, the super chat helps a little bit, but Patreon is still the backbone. And I have a very simple one for now. It's what I've always had since I started Patreon. Thanks to all of our TTLers and our live wires. If you want to jump in, they do this at the end of the month. So it's 5 and 10. The shout out, 10 for access to the early archival Portal 47 backstage creative interviews. You can see the nature of the beast of virtual recording. It's like the strata over time. It's fun to look back at something just 5 years ago and see how far we've come with recording and video and all that. Otherwise, patreon.com/Trekland Live. The Trek Files every week. This week, it's Gene's Notes to Harv about Star Trek V, and I should say Harv and Bill. It's a fun read. People are already talking about it, and my guest was John Champion. We've got some more fun stuff as we head toward the end of the 11th season. Be on the lookout for that. And I haven't been promoting Trek Files. Don't let the hiatus in this show take you away. There have been some awesome. I had Mike McDermott, Mike Demerit in talking about some great production memos we had. I have so much room here. I can drop a card. That's how much room I have now. All the socials are still the same, guys. I'm still on Twitter X, Larry Nemechek, and it's Larry's Trekland. Please, if you haven't already, like and subscribe to YouTube and share it. And yeah, Instagram, a lot of fun stuff I was doing during the move. my short-term stint pretending to be a moving influencer, I guess. But yay. And Portal 47, we just picked up a new member from SF, and the portal is there. It's growing. Looking forward to having more and more and more of the new era folks, creatives backstage, as well as some of the ones we haven't seen or seen in a long time. I think, my God, what is it? 2015? Do you realize we're coming up on 9 years in the portal? Wow. Wow, wow, wow. And a couple of folks have been with me since the beginning. That's it, gang. It was 7 weeks, felt like an eternity, but here we are. We've got fresh Trek on the way. I have a lot of fresh housing to keep building on. What you don't see here are shelves with nothing on them, and that's in books. So, and I got a house beyond that, and Janet's been working already this morning. So we will be busy, but if you're in the area, we will see you live at WonderCon a couple of weeks from now. James Kerwin and I at 7:00 on Saturday, the whatever it is the 30th. There's a link here in the chat. Yes, it is Saturday the 30th. You can click in and save your spot if you use the WonderCon schedule app and all that stuff. So glad to see everybody back. So glad to be talking with everybody, even on this virtual. And it's amazing how much you don't realize you miss it until you miss it. It's also a hell of a lot more fun than the 157 Trek only boxes, not to mention the things in the rest of the house. U-Haul wardrobe boxes are big suckers. They do a lot of good, but they're big. Yeah. Even when you've got paid movers, they're big. They're big. Oh, so many moving tales. That will wait for another time. For now, I've tried to do this. I hope you do too. Stay healthy. Do all the things. Stay woke. Check your sources. And most of all, Trek well once again, everybody.